What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bushwhacking History. Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear and Robbie. Robbie, you got me?
Got you.
What's
Thank
up?
you.
No, thanks for coming on again, man. Let me get everything situated here. And this is what I say earlier, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Bushwhacking Saturday parody.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody. Look who's in there. Prosciutto Bear. First one in. What's up, Prosciutto Bear?
Yeah.
Well, let's get situated here and do a little bit housekeeping. So what have you been up to, Robbie, since our last venture? Where were we at? Oh boy.
We did Holly and we did Pittsford, but I didn't present that. I didn't get to present that one with you. Times didn't line up on that. But the skate park I was telling you about before, and I think we've mentioned before in your videos, a local like public project I've been working on for a couple years with some old homies. We got a concrete skate park built in our local area. Got it 100% finished today, so we had a bunch of the homies out there riding it.
Good for you.
That's cool. It's
Yeah.
a huge thing.
Explain that a little bit more. What you do with the skate park, and I'll get everything going.
I've been skateboarding since I was like 11, 12 years old. I'm 32 now, so 20, 21 years old doing it. And something that's close to me. I don't do it much anymore, being older and having kids and working and all that jazz. But recognized a couple years ago that my hometown skate park, which is wooden framed, was falling down, falling apart, getting even arguably dangerous. So took it upon myself and rallied some homies behind me and kind of addressing the town and talking to them. And we started talks with them, which evolved into getting a grant. And through that, it evolved into building a $500,000 skate park.
What's the name of the town that it's in?
It's Sweden, New York, like the country.
Wonder if it'll be like the country. Sweden, New York skate park. Yeah, so I think it's amazing that you did that, Robbie. You told me about that before, that you endeavor in doing that. That's it right there, isn't it?
Yep.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So, a little bit of what Robbie does. So not only do we, if you're in New York and around this area, Robbie puts community. There you go. Got the community together and literally from like a grassroots motivation, because there wasn't one around when for the kids now, Robbie.
Yeah, it literally started with going up to the park you see in that photo right there on our Facebook, I believe that is, or whatever, or that might even be our website. I went to the town and they had some of that sheeting material, that black material that's on the surface of the ramps. And I was like, hey, I'll provide the 2x4s and stuff, like, and other things. Hook me up with some stuff so I can repair holes in these ramps. And from there, it evolved into a concept of fixing the old one to eventually saying it's too far gone. And there's grants to build new concrete ones, which will last 3 decades or more, allegedly. Yeah.
Good for you, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Yeah, it's just epic. It's like kind of surreal to me still.
Yeah. What's something that stands out to you? And then I'll do that. One of the special, maybe something that was special that you were when going through the actual process of building it. I mean, that's a really big endeavor. So, you should definitely be proud of yourself with that. How long, Bear? What's up, brother?
Appreciate that. Yo. What's up, Bears? Good to see everyone.
Yeah, we got Enslaved by Truth in here. Give a shout out. What's up, dude? I had a good time on your show with Chalk the other day. Thanks for getting me on there. I'll call back in again too, man. Cheers. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, sorry, dude.
No worries, bro. Need some coffee anyways.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. Just I had a lot of negativity around it. Had a couple good homies that rallied behind me and kind of kept me going even when I wanted to quit myself. And, you know, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes, you know, God provides. I don't know. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
guess just,
good.
you know, stay on the path, you know, don't wander. Like I said, there's a lot of times I wanted to quit with it over the last 3 years, and things kind of like almost like bumper bowling kind of like kept like knocking me back in toward it. And yeah, eventually just stuck it out and did it.
Good for you,
And
man. Such is life sometimes, right?
yeah,
Is this
100%.
it right here, dude?
Yeah, yep. It's an older photo, so that's the old park there.
Okay. All right.
We took about half, maybe, yeah, about half of that parking lot there that you see that's got one car in it, that
Right.
massive lot down below. And we actually put it there into that parking lot there. It would be the left side of the parking lot from the way, like, perspective of the
That's
screen.
sweet.
And by doing that, we got an extra like environmental impact grant where we used, because that parking lot was hammered, like the asphalt was all crumbling, turning back into gravel. So we got an extra grant by using like a dilapidated space and turning that into the park instead of it being like woodland or green grass or something like that. So
That's awesome. Very cool.
yeah.
And then you turned it into that skate park that we just seen in there. So go check that out
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
online and support it in any way that you can. So, all right. So we have How Long Bear here, Brian Evans. I appreciate that. Let me mod some of you guys. Enslaved by Truth is here. I got How Long Bear and Prosciutto modded. Yeah, keep an eye out, guys, for the trolls, but we should be okay. So what's going on today? Nothing too crazy, but I'd like to showcase and share with you guys the Jvbilee Center that my brother has. He's a realtor here in Buffalo, and he's got this listing. Lo and behold, and go figure that I put a video out about this a while back. Oh, goodness. Bushwhacking Buffalo #9. And I have a chance now to go in there, right? So, which is cool with what we did, Robbie, you and I, from our Forest Lawn escapade, and your homie, Red Jacket. But
Legend.
what's interesting is we're going to show the location on Google Earth and give you exactly an orientation of where we're at. Okay, let's get back over to Buffalo. But the place that I'm talking about in the building that we're going to show a tour of tonight is actually connected, or was once connected, to a spring coming out of the ground in Forest Lawn Cemetery, that which Robbie and I had been before. So we're going to go over that. I'll give you guys a brief rundown of what we're going to do once I get situated here. So Saturday night, live with Berserker Bear and Robbie Rad Bear, going over some Gothic City Collectors Cove. Pretty much the dime tour, actually. And we're going to learn about the Jvbilee Waterworks. I've showcased this before. I think I've done this before in an episode, not just at the Jvbilee #9, but I always refer back to it. The waterworks and the interesting earthworks and stuff going on here in Buffalo and the shore. It's one of the main tenets of main motivations of my research. How's the audio, everybody? If you guys don't mind. I don't know if I want to have the music on or not. Again, this is kind of like open forum, chill session, but we are going to be ladling some gravy. Also, a major component of what we're going to learn tonight, it might seem a little bit rudimentary, I guess is the word to use. But fog. There was an interesting fog Halloween Day and the following All Saints Day that we noticed. Robbie and I, actually, he sent me a text. We're going to dip into we'll do an Insta grab bag session. This is from a couple days after, well, I think a day after Halloween, where I had just mentioned to my wife to hammer it home and to give context here. I'll go. Okay, Brian Evans says good. Thank you, guys. It's not too loud or anything. Is it annoying for you, Robbie, the music?
No, I'm good. I'm cool with it.
Let's chill with it for now. Okay, so if anybody else can get feedback here, which would be pretty cool. I posted this on my Instagram, obviously. Now, again, this is just a brief overview. We're going to get into it a little bit further. It's not going to be a super long episode, so stick with me. I'm going to use one of my old books, of course, to define what fog is. I have old high school geography textbook from 1911, and you guys might say, "Where's that?" Sitting right here, right now. Here we go in the text actually. So you see that I do have it. Let's see. Okay. Now the curriculum from 1911 is pretty extensive, so I wouldn't shrug it off that you say it's a high school textbook. So we're going to use the definition of fog out of this, learn that, go over it, and get some feedback, because I did get feedback of this post, some interesting replies that there was a weird fog those few days. Halloween, All Saints Day afterwards. This is also termed, this time period, these 3 days, as a old pagan beginning of winter called Samhain. I know that from, actually, I remember that from Halloween, the movie Halloween back in the day. But we're going to learn that as well.
Gaelic holiday, right?
I'm not exact. I think so, actually.
Gaelic, yeah.
So Dr. Loomis in I think Halloween 1 or maybe even 2. I think it's in 2 because it's on a chalkboard. It's written on a chalkboard, and Dr. Loomis is like, Samhain means the Lord of the Dead, beginning of winter. Makes it all, doom and gloom, because he knows that Michael's around. So that's well, that's just like, I think in movies and in songs all the time, maybe even too much, but that's what we're gonna do. So from the Jvbilee, we're all here. Let's do this also. So what's on the screen right now is right where the Jvbilee library is, and where my brother has this place is like a collector's cove. It's obviously a collector's cove. We'll go over some of the general pictures online, but what's interesting and what's very significant about this place is it was the first mechanical water source for buffalo. Okay, short of before this place, there was a guy, a water john, literally called a water john. We're going to read that right here, where he would walk up and down the streets after he grabbed water from Lake Erie and sell it, just literally out off of his, a wagon or whatever. It doesn't necessarily seem too practical, that story, but we're going to learn it. So, and then Robbie's here to add, color commentate, Terry, and back and forth ladling of some piping hot gravy. So again, feedback too from the chat. If anybody has any interesting or like peculiar insights on the fog, was there a fog in your area? Where were you from? And that's what we're going to go over. So let's get back and dip into the chat and say hello. And Robbie, what have you been doing recently for the fog interest? And then I'm still trying to find that video that we did Forest Lawn Cemetery, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start off with reading this after. Do you have anything to add, or like what about the
We'll dip into fog after, and then
you want to? Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and I got an interesting point to make on the Jvbilee waterworks and correlating it to fog a little bit.
Say it right now. Say that right now. And then
no, you do your thing first. We'll transition with that or something. I think that'll be a good pivot.
Here's what we were talking about a little bit before. So there were let's read. I'm going to draw a line from this Gothic City Collector's Cove to the Jvbilee Spring that is in Forest Lawn Cemetery. I don't want to get too far ahead and go off on tangents without explaining ourselves, but Robbie and I have went to a couple different sites before, whether it was out in his area from Rochester. We've been to Pittsford. We've been to Albion Cemetery, which is absolutely unbelievably just out of this world with the towers that were there. So I made videos about these, and I would highly suggest that you go back and check them out. We did Lockport as well. Yeah, I was going to say that. Also, we did Lockport and the 5 series of locks, which is called the Flight of 5. Good call, Robbie. Yeah. But what's interesting, okay, so we got, old world history research here. One of the main motivations of what I do is I think that buffalo, in a real roundabout summation or even like mission statement, I think buffalo is an ancient, where's the EBT at to answer Ben directly, Ben Thorpe. Buffalo, I believe, was an ancient city. Now, if it was, and there is infrastructure of that ancient city, I believe it would still be around and we could see it. Is the Jvbilee Spring, are these old wooden pipes indicative of that? Maybe not, because we did actually find the gentleman that I actually did a tour with. My brother's busy, selling stuff off, and I'll explain that because the former owner is selling it, and there's a lot of stuff involved with it because it was a collector's cove. So a lot of antiques, a lot of old Buffalo history, right? Very cool, and we're going to see some of it. But of course, what I was interested in is where are the pipes at? Where now he did have one of the remaining pipes, wooden pipes that he showed me, and I'm going to show a picture of it. But I'm like, where do they tee in? So that's what we're going to show context of right here. And then we'll also give, I keep on going back and forth. I want to show pictures of where you and I went. Here we go.
Forest Lawn was amazing.
It was amazing. So this is when Robbie and I went to Forest Lawn, and as soon as you go into, there goes Red Jacket. We're going to give some context on Red Jacket.
Legend.
But as soon as you go into Forest Lawn, you make a right, you takes you to, you're looking at the Jvbilee right there. Again, I've done this before, but that's the Jvbilee Spring that was connected to Gothic City by wooden pipes underground. And what we're going to learn, which I don't know, I think maybe you were asking me, or maybe John was, the gentleman that I did the tour with, who gave me that Echoes in the Mist book.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some more for me too, bro. I forgot to tell you. He's got like 15.
Cool.
He's very cool. Again, the gentleman, you're going to see pictures of him. John, if you're listening or you're going to listen to this, I really appreciate it, man. And he's a used book dealer here in Buffalo, and he got in touch with me through my channel, which is so synchronistic. It's pretty crazy. But I met him a couple times. He gave me that book, and he's got a bunch more for me, that like books that he said that he's been saving and putting away through the years that have, effectively gravy. So I got some more coming, which is nice. And that's how I get my books. A lot of my books are from my family inherited. I got quite a few that were gifted to me from my buddy Malachi Crunch. You know him, West Side Samurai, another one of my go dogs. But I keep on talking. Let's get this. So picture in your mind's eye for the viewers, if you can see what's going on here. I'm drawing a line. Just, you see what I did there, Robbie? Just a general, like from the middle of it, where I think that's the best way to do it. And then you can go over that part where we're going to read the article next. And then you can give context on what you were talking about with the orientation of the house.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I always lose myself here. Gothic City Collectors. Let's see if I lose. Okay.
It's so far.
Well, here, and you know what? Where we found it. So, again, John and I got down to the innards and the guts of this in the basement and found where it does tee in, actually. Well, we think we did. And the actual owner himself, he didn't really know necessarily, because I was like chopping at the bit. Like, my brother introduced me to him, and the gentleman that watches over it, they're involved in the process of it's being sold, but it's going to get turned into like a community center to showcase what's in there, which I think is very cool. And my brother is going to be a part of that process. Now, where the actual pipe went into was not the Gothic City Collectors Cove, but it's the Jvbilee Library. That's right next door. That actually has Jvbilee Library written in the concrete in front of it with the U that looks like a V. So what I did was just generally where I think it tees in. And then now we're going to go to, and just so you can get a visual representation of where these old pipes are going to be that we're going to learn about. Bear with me. Sorry if we're going a little slow here, but that's going to be the nature of, I plan to do more Saturday Night Lives.
Dude, wooden pipes in general are just so interesting, like old aquitecture piece. They found a bunch that were part of Old World Albany, New York, too, that I was reading some articles on. And just as somebody who like remodels houses and builds houses and works with like copper and PEX and other different plumbing materials in the modern age.
Did you say copper?
Yeah, oh yeah, and it's just so interesting to me, wooden pipes and the concept of it. It seems like so.
Yeah, think about it. That there was a wooden pipe now.
But it makes a lot of sense too, real quick, just to sum up, that like they would leak once they were fitted together, essentially hollowed out logs, and you'd fit them together and they would leak until the wood swelled to a certain point and it would make a seal, which is kind of interesting and gravy.
Very gravy. Now, background a little bit on your work. You carpenter, right? More than just a handyman. So you got some. Okay, here we go. You gotta stay on top of these. Thanks, guys. Looks like we got some bots coming in. I'm sorry, Robbie. If you got the mods, let me mod some more people.
You want me to jump in there on the back end?
No, you should. Don't even worry about it. That's why we got our mods up in here. Prosciutto Bear's a mod. I got Hall Lawn Bear's a mod. I live in Northern. Hey, Anna Carter, I'm gonna mod you. If any spam comes in, please snipe them. Brian Evans, you're about to get moderated too. You've been here all the time. So if you guys appreciate it, this is on the fly. We're live, but just and snipe them, and I appreciate it. You know what? EBT, Enslaved by Truth, moderator. Definitely want that dude swinging the sledgehammer. 100%. Okay, so this is Charlie. This is the former owner. Good man, good dude. And he's involved in the process of chopping out the business, all the odds and ends and stuff like that you see. Which I got a good slideshow I'm going to show you guys. So we got a bunch of gravy to showcase for you. Please stick around with me. Don't worry. How long, Bear says, sorry, I'm rolling. Oh, yeah, he's driving. Truck driver, supplying all your stores, keeping this country stocked. So shout out to Hall Lawn Bear.
Yeah,
on the road. My father was a trucker also, so I'm right there with you. Oh wow, Amish Bear coming in hot. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Awesome. I always love these super chats. Honestly, I'm still getting used to them. So
hitting you with that 999 too.
Yeah, where's Prometheus Peanuts in here? That's one of the best usernames out there. What's up, guys? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Sorry, I'm gonna go back and forth, but we're ladling gravy on the fly here. So again, Charlie had this sitting in the back. Definitely wanted to show me it, and I'm chopping at the bit trying to find where, and nothing. Obviously, I didn't realize that there's a lot more going on when you own a business and you got more stuff. He didn't know exactly where the location was. I'm like, hey, Charlie, where do they tee in? Can you show me? He's like, oh, I don't, it's all covered up. And he just real quickly said that. But John and I went down there, and I believe that we did find the old tunnel. Is it a tunnel now, or is it all backfilled? We're going to talk about that. So just to show some previews and get you guys a little bit of gravy. The tour is right. We're going to get inside in the guts. Now, okay, here goes a real quick little hitter here. This Sphinx right here, Robbie, I'm not sure if I told you, but that's original from the Pan Am, 1902. So there's a lot of history here, not just something like that, but there's old big buffaloes, or there's also little banisters and balusters from other buildings in our city, which we have a lot of,
right.
Gothic style architecture.
That just reminded me of something. I totally meant to send you a photo last night. I was actually at my wife's grandparents. And you know how whenever you usually showcase an episode or an area of the Terra, like Depew, for instance, in your Depew video, where you show that aerial photo that you can find for most towns or cities in the Library of Congress archives and stuff like that. You remember how we couldn't find one for Holly?
Yeah. Don't tell me you found one.
It's where I found it in real life on the wall of my grandparents' house.
Come on, really? So there is actually one? I wonder if they have one for every city, bro.
I think they do. I think that was a thing.
So what Robbie's citing is... Go ahead, man.
No, I was just saying maybe once a town or city or whatever village incorporates and does like its official thing, like that was like something they had to do, like a rite of passage or something, you know.
Thank you, Bible Reading Bear, coming in with a super chat. Yeah, I really appreciate that. God bless you too. Very, very cool and much obliged. Brian Evans, my man. Kara K, always good to see you. Thank you very much for your support always. I really appreciate your feedback in the comments too. Okay, so moving right along. Yeah, that's interesting, Robbie. It's all part of the gravy coalesced in. Okay, so I'm going to read this right quick so we can have context as to why this is so important, and you guys can learn along with us the importance of Jvbilee. And then I will show you. As a matter of fact, I'll read this. Where'd you go? Is that the house you were talking about, Robbie?
That's the spring house I was trying to pin. Yeah. Yep.
So we'll read through this, and then I think I'll pull this off to the side and read it while I go through the slideshow so we can try to do two at once. Yeah, and then, let me show you my brother. There goes Kevin. He's the one heading up the real estate maneuver of this place. And again, it's so synchronistic that it happens that he randomly just got this location. And about a year and a half ago, I did it for an episode, man. So things happen for a reason, indeed. And that's my older brother, but I'm the bigger brother. As you can see, I tell everybody that, and he gets.
How dare you?
It's a good ball bust, that's for sure. So that's my brother. Love you, brother. Kevin. He's the original Turbo. Kerbo, that's his nickname. My whole crew has nicknames, and his nickname is Turbo. Do you remember that Nerf football back in the day, dude? The black and red one, where this is a funny commercial because I think the commercial was you would throw it and you could throw it all the way around the earth. But one of the chaperones at the Town Boys and Girls Club had termed Kevin Turbo because he's just a maniac in sports and whatever. So it would say Turbo Kerbo. And that was back in 89. So he's been Turbo for a minute. And that's my brother. He's got the real estate oversight on this place. And we're going to see. Let's play the slideshow as I read. So we'll learn and you guys will get context. And Robbie, chime in whenever, man. I'm going to read through this article and we'll play this right now. How's everybody else doing in the chat? Good to see you. Hey, Bible Reading Bear, thanks again for that. Brian Evans and Calistoga Refry. That's a good name, too. What were you going to say about the insight with the Jvbilee and the fog? You want to ladle that right quick before I read this? And I'll see if the slideshow starts.
No, we'll go into fog a little bit and let you do your Jvbilee thing. I think it'll give more context, and then kind of bring it full circle, if you will.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. So let's see if this plays, and I'll start reading the slideshow. Some of the videos probably, for some reason, I got my Ethernet cable plugged in, man. I got the whole computer cleaned up. Some of the videos won't. They load in slow, dude. That kind of irks me, but it is what it is. John Wayne, welcome. How we doing tonight? Saturday Night Live here with Berserker Bear and Rad Bear. Doing the Jvbilee, and we're going to learn about fog also. What you're seeing on your screen is a slideshow of the tour that John and I went through. I'll stop and give context, but I'm going to read right now from the Jvbilee Waterworks to the history of Buffalo.com. So the Jvbilee Waterworks was one of Buffalo's first water systems. When built in 1830, it replaced the village's water john. There you go. Kutcherer, who for years had gone about the streets on a horse-drawn cart selling water from Lake Erie to homes without wells in their backyards. When Jvbilee came into the picture, Water John bowed to progress and retired. Oh, there it goes. The progress, right, of civilization. One can argue that it's not necessarily progress in the way that they put it, in the context that they use it, but I digress. So it was incorporated in 1827 with a capital of $20,000. Peter J. Porter was the president of the company, and Absalom Bull its secretary and treasurer. Through miles of wooden pipes, logs with a hole drilled in the middle, the waterworks pumped water from, okay, here we go, from the Jvbilee Springs plant located out Delaware Avenue at Auburn to Buffalo and Black Rock behind houses. There was a spigot that allowed households without wells to have a ready water supply. So very important. By the 1890s, jump in anytime, Robbie, and chime in if you want, man. By the 1890s, the city had outgrown the waterworks and adopted a reservoir system which filled by pump with Lake Erie water. One such reservoir stood on top of Prospect Hill along Niagara Street, where the Connecticut Street Armory stands today. That's for another episode. Another 33 episodes, actually. I got so much work, guys. Okay. So look at all the stuff laying around in there. You know, you can just walk in there. Every Saturday, it's like an open house type of deal. And so that stuff, we're going to see. Some of this stuff is solid. Okay, some of it's terracotta, red on the inside. Some of it's wood. Some of the banisters are wood. Kind of like a wood theme here. All right. 1890s, it had outgrown. All right. By the 1890s, the city had outgrown the waterworks and adopted a reservoir system filled by a pump by Lake Erie. And I said the Connecticut Street Armory, where that's like a castle right now. But that's where the old reservoir was. And I've looked into that before as well. It's extremely interesting. Just before World War I, a new modern water system came into being with the construction of the Colonel Ward Pumping Station. Much more gravy there. I have anomalies in the middle of the Niagara River that I don't think can be explained, but another episode. At the foot of Porter Avenue, where Lake Erie and Niagara River join. So, I don't know if I'm going to... Then it goes into detailing a bunch of pictures, which I will... Let's pause this. I'll pause this after. Look at that. That's pretty cool, the eagle. Always got to get the sun in play. So the article I read all the way through, Robbie, and then the rest is just pictures. I'll show the pictures, and then we'll correlate it back to how we were there in Forest Lawn when this video is done. We're still going to play through the slideshow, but I'll pause it and show the pictures, and then we'll dip into our boots on the ground field work.
Did you notice too? There's a little tidbit under the photo of the reflecting pool with the stairs that the spring now feeds.
No,
where under the photo of that it shows it says that the spring itself, like the pipe or whatever that routes it to Forest Lawn, pops out to the right of the photo just under those stairs. Because remember, we were like looking in there, like,
ooh, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Okay.
We remember it being mad. Like, we're like, how deep really is it? Like, you think it's like maybe 4 feet or so deep, almost like a baptismal pool, almost, it seems like, especially with the way the stairs come down to it. Yes. Very interesting. And but you can't quite tell. Like, you could like try to get down in there and that thing be like super murky and deep and creepy.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting insight because, dude, it did seem clear. Now we're going to take a look at it right now. Okay, so that's what I just read. And then it shows pictures with little excerpts. Which one were you talking about? This one?
The next one down where you can clearly view the stairs. Yeah.
All right, let's peep that. Yeah, it says steps leading to the spring, which is found just below the steps at the right. Now, there's two different, there's like old steps, and then these ones even look, if you can actually believe it, look newer. So let's pop up in here. Oh, Canada Dummy. Good to see you. Canada Dummy says, I have done stonework alterations on some old world buildings here. Good to see you.
Sweet. Round table.
Yeah, Canada Dummy's always around. So yeah, right. All right. So here, let's get some gravy going. This is the spring house that Robbie's going to give a little bit of insight on. The spring house, Jvbilee spring water was bottled and sold around the country. The picture book of earlier Buffalo. There you go. I've never looked up that one yet on archive.org. See, there's so much stuff, dude. If I didn't, oh, it's nuts. And I'm pretty organized, but I'm not the most organized. That's why I have my wife, God bless my wife. She's the yin to my yang. That's for sure. She's extremely organized. Has never late on paying a bill, and I owe a lot to her. So there's just so much stuff and so many data points that I always have to come back to, Robbie. And again, that's why I appreciate doing this with you, because it's good to have something not necessarily to push against, but if I do a pre-recorded video, I don't edit. I haven't trained myself to edit yet, but I think it fits with my nature of doing the bushwhacking berserker thing, like just hitting record and going. Yeah. That is what it is. But I will get a little bit more technical with it. But I come across so many data points that I say I got to track back to, and then it just gets lost in the sauce. And you know how that goes.
Yeah, 100%.
So okay, I'll put this link in the description below. But here we go. That's where we're going to get into the wooden pipes, which is it's just nuts to think that, like I put up here on the actual. Let's close out of this. That line. So picture that line being wooden pipe. It is long, Robbie, right? Dude, so it's 2.27 miles. Yeah, it's crazy. Picture that all being laid with this. That's what they did. That's how they got their water. Now, what's the significance of that? Am I trying to here's where I'll get a little bit some humor. Am I trying to prove Tartaria with showcasing this? No, I'm just saying it's an extremely interesting facet of my city, Benthorpe, of my city, Buffalo, that I'm going to showcase. Like, if I think it's interesting, I think my viewers think it's interesting. Not only that, it lines up with work that Robbie and I have already done in Forest Lawn regarding the Jvbilee Spring. We were already there, so I can get pictures of it. So not only that, I have direct access to literally the actual wood, some of the wood that was used in the pipes. So with that being said, let's continue on this place is so cool. It's almost like, you know what it was reminding me of? You remember the movie? This is kind of really out there, but again, everything reminds me of movies. The way there was so much stuff. There's also a Masonic temple in here, dude. Wait do you see this? Let's actually play it through. Yeah, wait do you see it? Remember the movie Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase and Demi Moore? And Dan Aykroyd, like a weird ass movie, dude. But this kind of reminds me of it because there was so much stuff all over the place, dude. Look, you can see. And again, it's all a nostalgic history of Buffalo. You know, I'm like a kid in the candy shop walking through this place, and I was chopping at the bit to try to find where the tee-in place was for those wooden pipes. Also, just to get around and look at this place. So where you see the Masonic temple. John was getting a kick out of it. How come this slideshow is not going? Well, whatever. So yeah, dude, we've already went to Albion Cemetery. Robbie and I, we did. What was that other tower that we went to that was amazing last winter?
Owens Road, Soldiers Sailors Monument.
Owens Road, Soldiers Sailors Monument. Yeah, that was amazing. That's the one that we went to the top of. Okay, this is that's hard. Like I want to use the proper,
like a plaster Paris probably or something.
There you go. I believe plaster Paris or ceramic. So what's interesting? So that was plaster of Paris, but there's other ones that look like they might be plaster of Paris, but you're going to see what they actually are. Sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that a lot of times those are molded. It's like a rough mold, and then when they pull it out of the mold, the artisan will take a series of special knives and tools, and they'll do the finer details after the fact. Well,
you're the one that There goes my brother. That gives you scale. That's the Masonic temple. Because it's a collector's cove antique place. Certain areas become like a catch-all for storage. But still, I got some cool pictures that we've seen in there. And I forgot what I was just going to say to you, brother. Brotherly love.
That place looks awesome.
It's very cool. Very cool. You want to talk about nooks and crannies? Oh yeah, nothing but trouble. What's up?
And I was just making a Masonic reference. I said, "Where's the third pillar?"
Some have 3 pillars, some have 2. The 2 are the most significant, I think, though. But I don't want to say what your buddy knows a lot more about it. Who's into that stuff? We'll talk about that too. But yeah, there's so much stuff laying around here. The movie, Nothing But Trouble, Demi Moore, Chevy Chase. It's a very weird movie. It reminded me of it, though. Just clutter. Okay, there's my episode. I knew it was in this slideshow somewhere. I would recommend checking this one out. I don't think I was – maybe I was calling everything Tartaria back then. But we have an arc, right, of our progression through research. And once we're shown newer information or we look back in context, because I had all these books before, and I knew all the architectural styles, but all I'm saying here is I like using the proper mainstream definitions and terms for architecture, for things that may look like they're mud flood, but not, like lahars, or many other mechanisms that can produce characteristics that look like what people call mud flood, and they use that to justify what might be one cataclysmic realm-wide event of a mud inundation. Now, I don't believe in that. And I'm not even saying that I did believe in that wholly back in the day. I was certainly interested by it, and I was certainly sharing stuff that might give one pause to think that I was fully invested, but I'm never fully invested in anything. People say I'm a flat earther. I'm not fully invested in that it's flat. The whole system could be round. So, I mean, even in my first episode, also I was talking about terraforming. So, anyway, there's John. He's the gentleman that gave me the book. He's the gentleman that owns the used book dealership here in Buffalo, and he's got more books to give me. So this is the book where I found the Vauban style. As a matter of fact, this is bushwhacking history. You know what? Let's go bushwhack my Instagram here. John's the gentleman that gave me that book. And let's go look at some. That's the fog. We got to come back to the fog. That's the book that I got the term. This is quite fitting because if I'll recommend a video from Awar and Woody earlier today on their new YouTube channel that I actually shared. But in that book that I just showed you, there is a direct reference to these bastion forts. There is more of a specific mainstream term for it, which is a Vauban style. Now, I came to that definition or this term from reading this book, through this book. Not only that, Robbie, you're also familiar with the other gentleman because of what your interest is in doing with your homestead and your house, literally making it, hopefully with ambition. And I'm willing, I'll obviously help you because I think it's absolutely amazing that you want to do that. Shape your property like a star fort sort of, which not only would be super cool looking, but practical because you're talking about doing like earthwork, waterworks where you would try to funnel water so you can keep it, but you can ladle that a little bit later or after I detail right quick about Vauban and the Star Fort. So check out Woody's and Awar's episode earlier today about Star Forts and exactly how they were utilized for military purposes and all that stuff. And I actually shared that a while back with my chat with Michelle Gibson, the actual proper terms and definitions. But I digress because this one is Vauban style. You told me about Menno van Cohoorn. Yep. Now, if you do what's going to hammer this home, I'm going to hip fire search this right quick because it's hard for me to get out. It's hard to get me off of using these terms because look at if I search it up, Bastion Fort, Vauban Bastion Fort. You do an image. Look what comes up. What people have been terming star forts. Who's your guy? Menno von Cohorn. He's the other. You have a dude named what is it? Sebastian. What's this guy's name again? His full name?
Yeah, I think it's Sebastian Valbon.
There you go. You got this gentleman.
And Menno
Sebastian Leprestier de Vauban. He was a military architectural engineer, and he's responsible for historically. We can have conjecture and say all history is fake, but again, I've detailed before and explicitly said that I use the mainstream to go off of and bounce off of. We have to, as independent alternative history researchers. Okay. Through Robbie's research of wanting to shape his Terra like a star fort, which again I think is amazing, you came up with Menno.
Yes.
Menno Baron. You want to ladle a little bit of brief gravy on him? Because I know you got some.
Yeah, just he was from the Netherlands. He was Dutch, and one thing that I think is really interesting about his, even though they're maybe not as grand in scale to Vauban's,
no, they're more. They're more intricate.
Right. Yeah, truly. If you see the details, maybe at first glance, Vauban's aspect of bastion forts, or his take on bastion forts, or whatever you want to call it, were much more of like a meld between your medieval castle and a bastion fort.
Okay.
And what was cool about the Dutch and the Netherlands is a lot of there's integrated moats and other things, to where it all had to do with like certain depths and rerouting the waters, because the Netherlands is so flooded in so many areas. And some of it was for agricultural purpose, some of it was defensive, some of it was both, to where like they made their moats around them very specific depths, where like Dutch flat bottom boats could get in, but deeper boats, V-bottom boats used by other nations and stuff would not, they'd bottom out, and then if the water's deep enough still at that point where like you can't run through it on foot, you have to kind of trudge, so it slows down foot infantry. Just very well thought out, just legend. Yeah, total legend.
Did you watch Awar and Woody's earlier? Because Awar was detailing
no, you
that.
sent it through to me. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, though.
No worries. Definitely take a look at it. There you go. It was Woody giving me props for. Right now I'm scrolling down on my community tab to showcase that the different. I can't believe I can't find it right now with the cursory search. But like you said, the Menno van Menno van Cohorn style ones are more like water laced, intricate, I would say. And I did share way back in the day a great picture that showed all three different styles. So the Vauban styles are a little bit more landlocked and basic, which is what Fort Erie would be. I'll show that. The Menno styles are a little bit more intricate, water laced. Awar detailed why that was, obviously for defense and for no shooting angles, right? Again, I was thinking differently back in the day in my chat with Michelle Gibson. Like I said, presented with new information and looking at things from a more hindsight 2020, they probably are more militarily based, and as opposed to, like, again, I'm being humoristic here and not trying to be triggering, like unicorns and butterflies, free energy. It looks like it's more for like a structured, centralized control. Maybe, just like the whole free energy notion, maybe not necessarily always good. And again, thanks for bearing with me while I scroll down here. But I really want to show you guys the different intricacies of and you can do this search also. Maybe you guys can do a better job finding it, because I don't want to go too far. But yeah, what kind of progress have you? Are you still ambitious to shape your Terra like that?
Yeah, so I've been laying kind of the groundwork.
There we go.
For it. Literally, pun intended, to where like I've been doing the outermost ditch, I guess, if you will, because it's a lot of it has to do with agriculture as much as it does is defensive. Even back then it did. There's a lot of quotes from Vauban where, because his father was a master gardener for one of the huge chateaus in France, to where he correlates the construction and architecture of gardens and fortresses as being not too different, which is pretty gravy and cool if you think about it. And a lot of it comes back to agriculture on my property with all the gardening I do and homesteading and stuff, to where, I'm also kind of harvesting water from the terra purposefully, which could, in some instances, the shaping also help defensively, too. I mean, granted, in my scale, it's going to be smaller in scale, but still representative of an overall geometrical shape. But yeah, still working on it, moving slow. I don't have a lot of like equipment or anything like that. A lot of times it's just, me with like somewhat modern technology, and then some like,
I think it's awesome.
It's too, just me and a shovel and,
man on the land, working, tilling. That's what we're supposed to do, till the soil, brother. So there you go. A general overview of using the mainstream definitions and terms, not because we're effectively like placating and bowing down to them, but in order to be on a level playing field and criticizing and poking holes in their story, we're going to get a better voice, or people are be more apt to pay attention if we're using their terms as well, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oh, also check out this channel, Historic Erie 350, for really good research along the Erie Canal, which is another mainstay of what we do, Robbie, you and I. Check this guy out. All he does is drop nothing but great. Look at this, nothing but gravy about old school stuff along the Erie Canal.
He just posted a really cool picture of the Flight of Five too, on some sink.
Yes, he did. Right there.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's Robbie and I did that back in the day. Lockport. Oh goodness, like a year and a half ago, huh?
Yeah, that was our first bushwhacking escapade together. Sleuth.
Was it really?
I believe
that's right.
So.
I should have known that. Okay, so back to the Star Fort thing, and we'll round it out so I can close off these things. You have Bastion Forts, obviously. Watch AWAR and Woody's on their new channel, Conspiracy Graduates. That's a great name. Further, though, there's Vauban style that we got from texts. My book right here. Again, you see it was literally referred to that the fortification of Fort Erie or Fort Niagara, I'm sorry, was changed into a Vauban style fort. That's in the text. Also, this guy right here, Sebastien Leprestier, he's known for making more intricate fortifications with water laced. And that's it. There you go. So you can check it out yourself. There you go. Defensive doctrines. I'm always going to be using mainstream terms and definitions, even though I'm pointing out holes in their script. So that's just what you're going to get when you watch Bushwhacking History with Berserker Bear. And it's back to the slideshow. How's everybody doing in the chat? Thanks again, everybody. Colastoga refried. Got some conversations going on here. Show me the edge. Bear, hey Bears, check out Ask to Land from Middle Mississippi. The platform arms are oh, really? Okay, gravy. Have to come back to that one. Canada Dummy says Poe used a lot of architectural terms. There you go. I don't. Do you think Poe used Tartaria? All right, so John, my man, gave me that book. Let's keep it going. Play some tunes.
Yeah, I'll be right back. My bad. Give me 1 sec.
Take your time, buddy. Potato Nigga Bear, good to see you, bro. Thanks for showing up. Really good to see you. How's it going in Ireland right now? You're pretty late. You guys are 5 hours ahead of us. Good to see you, bro.
It was historic Erie 350.
How we doing? You got it. Historic Erie 3. That's the link right there. I just dropped it in the chat.
I'll be doing a more in-depth episode on this coming up. Stay tuned. Bushwhacking history in Buffalo. Berserking.
There you go. John noticed something here underneath the steampunk. What do you think about that? I might have showed this to you the other day. Right behind that. It's a water meter. Obviously, maybe connected. Well, this doesn't look old world, but interesting. So while we were going in and around checking out the nooks and crannies, there's customers going all over the place looking for stuff to buy, whatever. And I was explaining to one of the workers that is helping that I have a YouTube channel and yada yada. I do research here in Buffalo about old architecture, mostly infrastructure though, and ancient history, I think, of it. And they're like, oh, there's some books in the back over here, check them out. And I'm talking like in the back had to like go down a hallway here and literally talking about a synchronicity. Obviously my name is Dustin, right? Dustin. My buddies call me Dust. My mother calls me Dusty. One of my biggest friends actually is like 6'5", big, huge barrel chested dude. He calls me Dusty, which I think is funny, right? But what's above the book, when we go back there, I mean, literally, this just stuck out to me, almost like punched me in the face, you know? Like, the synchronicity there is nuts. This is the book right here. And right above it, it's got dust. So I just see it everywhere. I also have an episode about dust. And it's, I believe, esoteric reverence. Pretty good. It's one of my favorite episodes, actually. Bushwhacking.
That's one of my favorites too. That's a great episode, by the way.
I appreciate that, man. I was able to. I got away with sharing a couple clips from some old school shows, especially the Twilight Zone, and that's pretty hard copyrighted. Now, here we go. Opening the books. They're land plot claim books, or like land. There's 9 of them all together. We were only able to look at like 3 of them while we were there, but I was looking for a little bit more of like pictures and stuff. But all they are land claim or land plots, and I have the actual link for the Buffalo land plot trove, actually the official City of Buffalo one, which I actually use, and I'm going to use in the future to try to prove that there might have been one of those, not Vauban style forts in Buffalo, but the Sebastian Menno, or I'm sorry, the Menno Cohorn style. I think there was a mined star fort here in Buffalo, and I aim to prove that there was. It's not in the historical record. So that's another aspect of how I research the history of our city. Ben Thorpe. I don't just research history in general. I do research the history of my city. Anywho, we looked at 2 of these books and they're the plots. You'll see. They're Erie Canal gravy in here. I wish I had more time, dude. Look how old this stuff is. Kid in the Candy Shop. Honestly, bro, I'm sure you can imagine. You want to come into Buffalo, man, one of these Saturdays. Again, it's open house.
Yeah,
We can walk through. Now, here we go. Here's an example of them balusters or a banister. I forget, actually. Looks like it could be plaster of Paris, right? At face value. Boom. It's wood. So take that for what you will. Again, I kind of want to steer away from the conjecture of architecture and whether or not it was here or not, and the grandiosity of the buildings juxtaposed and contrasted with the technology that some people want to point out, horse and buggy. I still say that the architecture is possible. All possible architecture. And that's not necessarily my focus. It's more the infrastructure of what was here previously. And there's going to be remnants. If this city, like I think, is ancient, there's going to be remnants of it. And this is what's cool because this is kind of my area. Vulcan is the most northern street in Buffalo. And that's right near me. I also think that, yeah, it's me. I also think that this Sheridan Drive, Robbie, I also think that was a canal back in the day too. I got more research to do on that, but where that would be, bro, right across from Strawberry, the boat launch where I used to go in, where I like to go and chill and get the water energy. So what you're looking at right here is the tail end of that Sheridan Drive right here. Okay.
Right.
I think that this was an old canal also because this little bend right here and this interchange all on your screen, this is the Erie Canal, yo. That little band that goes right through the middle, that's the 190 section of the thruway, but that's the old Erie Canal, man. And I think that there were a lot more. I think that there was a canal going right through the center of Buffalo. Another mainstay of my research. So these books were like I said, a kid in a candy shop, Robbie, doesn't even compare or doesn't even do justice to how cool this was, bro. And we got a lot more pictures, and we're going to do fog, and then that'll be a wrap. I don't want this to drag out too far. I did want to showcase my tour, the dime tour of this Jvbilee, because of the synchronicity of me doing it for Bushwhacking number 9. Cool, so yeah, look at that, man. Some of the pages were water damaged, actually, and just had to work around it. But then we moved along. So this is over a couple days.
Yeah, how dare you? It is a Masonic temple.
So yeah, now we just got some hijinks.
I would guess that underneath this carpet, there's probably there's probably a black and white floor pattern, unless they ripped it out. Yeah, Solomon's Temple floor pattern, the black and white. Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Allegedly.
And there's a couple ladders hanging around too.
Exactly. Wait till you see.
That's what I'm saying. They might not even be under here, but I would guess that they probably were. Actually, I'm gonna go check actually behind.
You know, John gets it
behind the curtains.
You
just interested in checking this place out, man?
You got to put me in contact with him. I wanna have him keep an eye out for some books.
Oh, cool.
Definitely.
Nothing back here.
There are people walking around. That's who we're talking to. Just
outside, I can hear it outside.
Random people.
Nothing back here. This is all pretty much closed off. So, but this is kind of sort of a false wall, what will be behind. I don't know if there's any. Ooh.
I almost bought it right there.
Fucking fell.
Excuse my language.
I don't know if there's anything really behind here because it's outside. It's an outside wall. So,
what's up, Skybear? Good to see you, man. Welcome.
The long and the short of the grandiosity in the Masonic temple.
Yeah, this is so cool. We're gonna go back here. So you should come back, or if you can get in on a weekday, or I'm sorry, a weekend, Saturday, bro. I'm definitely going back
That's
here.
so
And this
weird.
call. Oh, go ahead. This culminates into us finding where it tees in. I'm going to show you guys, and I want to get your take on it because you're the one who learned me the actual definition of corbelling. Corbelled, the roofs where the brick actually is more ornate, and buildings that have red brick buildings that go straight up and they come out a little bit at the top in an ornate style. Robbie back in the day had
Similar to
another. Go right ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, go back to that previous photo if you would. Go 2 back real quick. And you can kind of get an example with that like door frame that's sitting above all that, like whatever that stuff is, some pews. Or,
Okay.
It looks weird. Something. You know, you kind of have a similar dichotomy there with what's called a cornice when it's over a door. And it's that trim at a 45-degree angle at the top. You would see that at the top of like a red brick or other stone structure. And it's essentially old world drip edge, you know, coming out at an angle like that. It would allow the water to drip off the edge of the roof and out away from the face of the building so it wouldn't erode your mortar joints.
Gravy. I remember that. Yeah. So these 2 examples, you're saying this is good. Let's actually show it. Corbelled. There you go. When it comes out at the top, offset a little bit and makes more of a aesthetic look to it. I've likened it. That's a great example, Rob, because I've likened it before. It's almost like the inverse of crown molding on the inside. This is on the 100%. Outside, and it's made to look more pleasing to the eye. Also practical. It's a drip edge, so water doesn't drip onto the stuff below. Very similar.
Yeah, so it's, you know, things are like that. Ornamental and functional.
So we got this is what I love, the feedback, man. Amish Bear says that's also called a pediment. Pediment. Love it. Fire. Bing. Okay. There you go. Top of it. Okay, so
okay.
Gravy. This would be for concrete or plastering or whatever. Very cool. So that's what a pediment is. Thanks for the gravy.
Above your columns and your
There you go. There go the 4 columns you were talking about too. Amish Bear ladling gravy from the comment section, as we do.
What's up, dude?
Very cool. All right, let's keep it rolling. Good call right there. And then they sort of look like ladders. Yeah, and then chairs with the cross on them. This is a Masonic temple. You know they're going to have the Jesus symbolism. Got the piano there crushing. I'm not necessarily sure what the G does stand for in the Masonic context. A lot of people think that it's God, but or the one overseer who they refer to as God. Me, I'm a Christian. It's one God, Most High, Almighty, Father of Jesus Christ. Just so everyone knows where we stand. But this place is awesome, man. I really would like to. I would appreciate getting to go through it with you, man.
Yeah, it'd be an honor, dude. I'm down.
Yeah, you can go in. You can Oh, cool, dude. Right back at you, for real. John, you can move stuff around, and he was loving it. This one wasn't really a great quality picture. Yeah, and it says Buffalo, New York. So that organ that you seen, this is a cool picture. This picture kind of reminded me, again, movies, bro. This like immediately reminded me of The Shining at the end when Jack is in the middle. He's actually in the picture in that movie. You familiar with that one?
Yeah.
Francis Ford Coppola, The Shining. That movie does terrify me.
It is. Yeah,
It's kind of counterintuitive too. Like The Shining, it's a very bright movie. And there's a reason for that. But
this is the
scary movie being bright.
Dude, that and Jack Nicholson just plays a great psychopath.
Oh my goodness, bro! That movie is.
He really does.
So that organ that you've seen, John was curious about where the actual organ for it was.
So we were just looking around to see what John pointed out. Where's the keyboard to this organ? Right, and you can just see that this is Buffalo. But John pointed out that I said, "Oh, this is Buffalo, New York," but that's the cellar. You said, John?
Yeah, that and Katir and Daniels.
So you surmise that this is probably the keyboard for
that organ.
For the organ that's in the room.
There you go, gravy.
This might have been like for, I don't know, maybe the big organ broke it.
Like a backup?
Yeah. Would cost a lot of money to fix it or something.
Take another closer look at this.
Look like this was a very prosperous.
Listen to what John said.
In Buffalo, huh? I think Buffalo's got some significance, so they were just letting this one go by the wayside. How dare you?
Being in Riverside, kind of forgotten area.
Oh goodness, how dare you?
He's like, I don't think this was a prosperous.
John and I. He's the gentleman that I got the Echoes in the Mist Niagara Falls book from. So just doing a little bit of sleuthing, field work.
Little field work.
Little field work. Keep it sleuthing as well. We'll report back. All right.
Yeah, so the organ thing, that wouldn't have stuck out to me, but he's interested in it. And again, where organs doing healing of the organ. I mean, that's another facet or part of the old world research niche, but I digress on that one. We need way more information and data. But look at that, reminded me of Rosemary's Baby. This chest was cool. Very cool. Yeah, whenever you want, bro. We'll set it up. I know we got to check this out. We got Disney stuff. You can't see John's behind that thing holding it up. It's pretty big. Yeah.
I did not see that at first.
He's getting some elbow grease in there. Hey, you see his hand? So again, I'm looking forward to getting those books, John. I really can't wait, actually. Never seen that movie or even heard of it. You?
No.
A Disney one? What? There's probably some innuendo in that one, huh?
Yeah, I've heard that already.
What did you just point out, John?
The doorbell.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. So we just looked at what you just seen here, and then got a ring to get in the secret club.
Oh no!
I didn't even notice that. Good
call. Oh, geez.
Okay.
Very interesting. Oh. Hold on. Let's hold on. You hear that? Yeah. The ringer's up there. Do it again, John.
Maybe that was to call them all in.
Real-time sleuthing right here. Do it again.
Yeah, that's what to give him the cue to come out or something for some ceremony.
Coming out of this box. Yeah, I found it. Coming out of this box. What? Very interesting.
It's like
something in this black box next to the circuit.
Just weird. Aftermarket, of course.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah, dude, you get a kick out of this place, man.
It goes to a black box that's right next to the circuit board in there, like aftermarket for sure.
So maybe, who knows what
Your guess is as good as mine. Oh boy.
Amish Bear's crushing it.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that. Amish Bear says when you passed the pine cones outside leading into the basement, I instantly thought of the land of Pineal. Wait till you see what the ending of this slideshow is, actually. Okay, does anybody have any insight on what this is? I know the whole Masonic temple ceremonial thing. I get it. Certainly not passing judgment or anything like that. We understand secret societies and fraternities have their own methods and stuff like that. So, but all I'm saying is that it just looks like a cabinet, but it's got a soft thing on top, and obviously with the humor side of things, John and I are taking a little bit of leave. Pretty funny. It's got drawers underneath. You can open up that thing and it.
Oh, okay. So we were just walking out, and John had noticed this. And I'm like, yeah, what is going on here? Because if anybody can in the chat or respond back in the comments afterwards, it's got a flat, soft top. And John and I were joking, we are in a Masonic temple. What is this? The mock?
Yeah, the sacrificial altar.
What'd you say?
Altar.
Allegedly. And we'll say mock.
We keep the body parts in here.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Yeah, it is kind of
tons.
It's heavy. Well, you're moving it around.
It's heavy. It's
yeah. It's
he was cracking me up.
Definitely not a poker table. Wow.
Wheels,
very cool.
That's the only way you can do it.
Very cool. Very interesting. Bushwhacking history in Buffalo. John, thanks for stopping by or meeting us here. Appreciate it. Okay, I'll get that for you.
Yeah, he was cracking me up, man. What a legend. He's moving it around and everything. So here we go. Here's some more data for you.
Go again with that. What did you just say?
You'll appreciate this.
Oh, this all this stuff would be great for theatrical scenery, but it all weighs a ton. It's original.
Now here's something that's funny. From what I just shown over here, these banisters or the balusters that are actually wood. They look like they could be solid, marble done up really nice, but I showed that they're wood.
Yeah.
Okay, these are wood.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Everything is what it seems.
It's wood. Now, this is interesting because I kind of expected. I'm like, whoa, look at that. That's pretty ornate. That's solid and real. Just like this is real heavy. This is solid. What is this? Terracotta? This might be terracotta.
Might be. Yeah.
My best guess is terracotta. It's pretty solid. So you got a mixture. If nothing else, at face value, all we could say is that some of it is terracotta. Some of it is wood. Some wood and some of the other. I don't want to get into terms right now.
But the jig for building.
And that's right. Great call there.
Check
that's
that out.
The jig for building an arch.
Yeah.
Very cool. It was right in front of my face. I didn't even realize it.
There, got the capstone. The whole
very simple.
Just a simple. I mean, you can effectively call that an apparatus or a jig.
Yeah.
Like you did, or even maybe
definitely a jig.
Or a certain, maybe could you even term that a scaffolding? Maybe. Very generally, not really, because it's not a platform. What's that?
Usually, a scaffolding is for, getting somebody
up there,
around and up there. Yeah.
For man.
It is kind of rudimentary, but it didn't need a lot, right?
Very cool. Yeah.
Some pieces of lumber, cut them up, and make them fit.
Did you hear what John said?
Wow.
Great for man.
It is kind of rudimentary, but it didn't need a lot, right?
Very cool. Yeah.
Some pieces
Great
of lumber,
point.
cut them up, and make them fit.
Didn't need a lot.
Wow.
Great insight. Great find. And you pointed that out, John.
Make the huge grandiose cathedrals or whatever, and literally people say horse and buggy and stuff, impossible architecture. Come on. You're taking away from the ingenuity of humans. You have a great point on that too. When my contention with the International Railway Bridge and the ability for them to sink caissons, I got more work coming with that down the pike. Toronto Jvbilee, shout out to him, did a great job following up with the Fort Erie Museum to solicit information from them regarding the International Railway Bridge. But the point I'm getting at is Robbie checked me on that before, because I said I have a hard time believing they did that at that time period, 1873, in the river at that time. And I remember you saying, Robbie, this is related to what we're seeing here on screen and what John just pointed out, didn't need much, and people's ingenuity and know-how is very high. Okay, I think that we don't give them enough credit when we say it's impossible architecture, and you underline that when you were saying, well, don't I forget how you put it, but you said don't sleep on the people of the past. They had some serious work ethic, because they weren't all on their these things all day. That's all they did was work. And I'm like, that's a good point, Robbie. You gave me pause to think about, maybe they were able to do the caissons and the bridge and the river, but I don't know, man. We still got way more work to do on that, but I applaud you for saying that. And it's an underlying tone about horse and buggy impossible architecture you're removing the ingenuity and the know-how of man that can come together and put together beautiful pieces of architecture with very simple, rudimentary, if you will, components and jigs like we see right here. Make an arch with some heavy material with just a couple sticks and twigs. Or not twigs, I didn't mean to say it like that, but
Should be able to find some wasps' nests.
you understand what I'm getting at.
Looks like it's the
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah,
spot.
that's
right?
what kind of caught my eye. It does look a little bit, yeah. That's the whole idea. Old school, getting in the nooks and crannies. Talking about nooks and crannies. This place is out of sight, huh?
Got a few.
Yeah, got a few. Awesome.
There is no
Had a great time. So cool. So now we're getting up to the second floor, moving our way towards finding.
So this is more like a shop, huh? Or like you said.
Moving our way towards finding where the wooden pipes teed into this location. So stick with us, and then we're going to go over fog. Again, that's another portion of this presentation. The fog that was seemingly around the whole country, peculiar fog on Halloween, Samhain. We're gonna end with that. So
Like a flea market.
working our way. Working our way.
Will they have had this open or storage?
Yeah, from all over the place.
So we're right on the. This would be the the northeast corner.
Thanks,
Looking down
Kara.
over Niagara Street.
I love the Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, cool, right?
190,
No
but
windows.
that's the Old Erie Canal, as we know. You're following along.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's core, or what do I like to say? Correlate where we are. So we're looking that way. Where we are, I always lose this place. Gothic City Collectors. So we're facing that. Effectively, we're right up on the second floor of this building right here. Again, that's not the building that he's in. It's this building.
So that would
wooden.
would that be
go ahead,
Black Rock technically, like the Black Rock district of
This is
Buffalo?
Black Rock.
Right.
Yep, and the Black Rock is right behind. What I was going to point out was like you see here
As we know, you're following along.
when you look.
But that's the Old Erie Canal. And
Okay, what you're looking at right here, the highway, how it's raised like 30 feet off. My daughter said that earlier today when we were driving right down this very strip right here. She's like, "We're pretty high." I'm like, "Yeah, sweetheart, we are. That's why they call it the highway, because we're like 30 feet off." But what I wanted to say and what's significant is what's right here. This is where the Old Erie Canal would be. Again, say it till I'm blue in the face. The footprint of the Old Erie Canal is now the 190 section of the thruway. And what did you just say, Robbie? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. I don't even. I was just asking you. I was confirming that was Black Rock section or district of Buffalo.
Yep. So you got Black Rock and Riverside are the most northern parts of Buffalo, and Riverside is actually the most northern. But Black Rock is significant because Black Rock and Buffalo, the city of Buffalo, were the ones that were burned. The two townships that were burned in the War of 1812. And it's significant because the Black Rock actually was blown up to accommodate for the Erie Canal. Go ahead, bud.
That's an interesting.
the 190, but that's the Old Erie
Yeah, I was just
Canal.
gonna say it's an interesting point to make too, that it's in the Black Rock district, and the point that you made that they like literally blew the rock known as Black Rock up and kind of destroyed it, and then correlating back to John's point about it being like a less or prosperous lodge in a forgotten aspect of
I
Buffalo.
love how he said it like
It's
that.
kind of right on point because they attempted to purposefully forget Black Rock. It seems,
Yes, that's more
hard
work.
do we work to try to dig up gravy on Black Rock, and a lot of it's been buried, literally.
I'm trying to find the picture that I have of the Black Rock where it shows that the British forces actually blew the Black Rock up. The Black Rock and Buffalo conflict.
Which
I know I have a picture of it.
Yeah, and I have some gravy on that it was actually an outcropping of black limestone.
Exactly. That's what I think.
It was limestone.
I think that there's a relation there to the Black Rock and what was going on with the possibly the old Menno Cohorn style star fort that might have been here in Buffalo that was found and mined, because in relation with another aspect of old world history here in Buffalo, there was an old cement called Buffalo cement that was utilized some of that outcropping, right? So I think there's conjecture and purposeful confusion there with that Black Rock. And I found an old article where a geologist said that they found an outcropping that was like a mile long, right? I think that's actually detailing the Star Fort, dude.
Right.
Or the Menno Cohorn Star Fort. And they got some geologists back in the day to say that it was an outcropping of a geological feature. Meanwhile, you know, news changes, the people forget, right? We've been over that before. They actually sing about it in the Who song, Eminence Front. The stocks crashed, hopes are dashed, people forget. Literally, a generation goes by and you don't know where one store was, or if it was moved across the street. People forget that it was even at the old location. That stuff happens more than people like to think or admit. And when I say, I'm literally putting out there the fact that there might have been a massive Cohorn style fort, bastion fort in Buffalo that's not talked about in history, because I think the robber barons got to it and mined it. And it was in Old Erie Basin Marina. There probably was a canal going through it. I'm not talking about free energy and unicorns and butterflies. I am talking about utilizing the power of the Niagara River to push water not only through the Erie Canal, possibly through radios of old canals that were here in ancient times. That's the type of work that we're getting into. So without getting too far into it, one of the main pushes for what I do here, Ben Thorpe, ancient history in Buffalo, my city, I think the history is completely flipped up on its head, and I have an obligation of being having a proclivity for history and being smack dab right in the middle of the city to actually uncover it. Was Delaware Street of my city formerly a canal, that which is not talked about in history? I have an obligation to show that if I think that it is that. I do believe that is the case. I believe Delaware Street was an old canal. Main Street was an old canal going right through an old Menno style bastion fort. I got so much more work to do. But yeah, what do you say about Black and the Black Rock that you just pointed out? I think is a key factor in trying to figure that out, bro. We're gonna have to do some more research here. You're gonna have to come into Buffalo next time, man.
Yeah, 100%. And then interesting on that note, real quick, dovetailing back to Jvbilee Springs and the black and white Springs house photo that we showed with the article you read off the jump. That was at the corner of Delaware and Auburn Avenues. So it might have been right on the bank of this Delaware Avenue canal that you're proposing may have existed. And to me, that seems more logical because, like you noted, there's 22.2 miles between the Jvbilee Library and the Forest Lawn reflecting pool that now is fed by the spring. And then from that reflecting pool to where they say that the spring house was, that building there, is about half a mile. It would make a lot more sense if that was traveling above the Terra,
right,
like a canal or something like that, than it would.
Dude, that's the kind of stuff you stare at a problem long enough, these things come out to you. Yeah, and again, it would line up with what I think is going on with these canals, because the way Buffalo is situated and the fact that this is such a powerful current. See these streets that traject out in a radial trajectory? I think that they were all, this is one of them is Main Street, one of them is, I think that they were canals. You pull it in, and you could use it to actually push the water. This is kind of stuff that I think that they were maybe positively ionizing the water, and I don't know how they were going to be doing that. Not necessarily with Antiquitech, but bringing it back to structured water. I'll cite Alpha Vedic and Pat, the Pat cast that I did, Pat Life podcast. They do a lot of research on structured water and how water holds memory, and it can hold benevolent memory in the experiments of Dr. Emoto. You can get water back to structured water without the utilization of Antiquitech. You can do it by sending it through certain channels. Okay. And I think that they may have been doing that here back in the day. I digress. I got more work to do. And again, you got to help me with that, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, just to expand on that too. I mean, play this, but I would just say that the Jvbilee being a spring too would be maybe it's already ionized by the earth, and that's why it's pure.
Good point.
So then it's all about just directing it.
Good point. Ed, you know what? This place is also considered some of the freshest water in North America. Actually, the Great Lakes Basin is very fresh, moving water. It's not stagnant. Some of the another thing that I like to do is actually test it. One of these days, see how clean it actually is. Like right underneath the Peace Bridge, where it's moving so unbelievably fast.
Right.
Yeah, this is interesting. Of course, esoteric. Another part of Buffalo is if it's ancient, it's got ancient esoteric knowledge about it. It's a major confluence of land energy, air energy, and water energy, in my opinion. And it's got way more history than we're told.
Okay, the chalice, which we might say is oh my goodness.
So this is strictly hip fire.
It's got the sword and the snake.
Yeah.
Okay, the chalice, which we might say is oh my goodness. Holy Grail, maybe.
Yeah.
We have a pillar that may symbolize Nimrod's phallus.
Oh boy.
Crown with the staff through a crucifix, staff through a crown. I'm not sure what that symbolizes. And what is that, hay, or is that a bushel of?
Could be a gourd.
A gourd?
Angle. Yeah.
It looks
Anybody
like
have
it's got like a rope around it. Is it a?
It was probably a decoration or something. They use gourds in a lot.
And then in the middle is
ceremonies, but I don't.
Hey,
know
does that look like the
chair downstairs?
I almost fell over a couple times.
Thanks for catching me.
So look over here.
Look at the low windows. This is super cool. What do you got?
My cell phone. Look at this portable cell phone.
Oh, it's old school, huh?
Very old school.
I would agree with that, Amish Bear. Definitely an allegory for the elements with the pentacles, five points.
Where did that go? Okay, so Amish Bear says, isn't that symbol we are looking at about worshiping energy? Earth, wind, and fire? Whoa, okay, gravy. You'd say you agree. I was just mentioning that with Buffalo being a confluence of all that stuff. Whoa, gravy.
Yeah, and then your fifth element kind of being the ether, if you will.
Ether. Wow, okay. Gravy, Amish Bear. The Illuminamish.
No, it's definitely a phone. Yeah.
So it's got old school stuff. Yeah, it's got this is almost got sort of like a flea market vibe to it.
Yeah.
But I like how the windows are a little bit lower. That's kind of weird. The
okay, so
lower.
We're getting closer to the.
You'd almost think that might be a little bit of a hazard for children.
To the basement here. Yeah, I don't think they got getting a little bit long-winded. Sorry, but I appreciate people staying along with me.
The record collection.
Free energy. I don't think that we were pulling free energy out. I don't know, guys. It might be not benevolent if we can do that. We might have to use the Terra energy. The etherical energy might be of that gentleman right. I don't know. That's my opinion. There's conjecture there, but look at the little tiny piano. Shout out to Unbearables, Big Bear, Owen Benjamin, and the Bears.
And I was just gonna say, could you imagine BB playing that thing?
That's why, dude. That's why I did that picture. Like
the tiniest piano.
He played off that before. He had a special back in the day where, because he's so fucking huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the huge
Straight up
pianist.
giant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the huge pianist.
Yeah. That's what I instantly thought of. Was just him just mashing on those keys.
Yeah, yeah. That he would look like an absolute titan next to that one, right?
Awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Of course. So look at that too. Yeah, look at the synchronicity. It's like that thing was just laying right there. It's like Tartaria. Oh boy. But again, we understand it's a lot more than just Tartaria being a alleged one world empire giving away free energy from giants. It's a lot more than that. Just as it's a lot more than the a mud flood. You know, one realm wide cataclysmic event. If you guys are paying attention and following along. Real quick side tangent. What's going on here? That's characteristic of what we say people call mud flood. But it's not a mud flood. You got to zoom back a little bit. Zoom out, guys. Buried under 6 meters of lahar from a volcano. And look at what it says here. What used to be the second windows converted into doorways. That's like a main tenet of what people say quintessential mud flood, one cataclysmic event, conspiracy are us, one cataclysmic event of a mud deluge. Okay. Now, I say that in jest, the YouTube channel that I just cited, but you should not block my comments anymore, homie. And I say that with all respect. I don't know why you do. If I throw some jabs here and there, deal with it. You know, my name is Berserker Bear for a reason, and I think, sorry that you're on this with me, Robbie, but I don't care. Some may have mistaken my kindness for bitch madeness. You know, and certain ideas get matriculated over into other platforms, but that are pushing something that I don't necessarily agree with. So, again, Michelle Gibson, who I look up to and is a great researcher, is of the mindset that there was one cataclysmic mud flood. I professionally and respectfully disagree with that. But Michelle and I are on good rapport, and she wouldn't block my comments. Conspiracy are us. But I digress. Not everything you see that looks like a mud flood is because of a one cataclysmic realm-wide inundation of a mud deluge. Zoom out a little bit, guys. Not only is could it just be a lahar, it could be like what Wise Up says from volcanic ash. There's many mechanisms. There's flash floods, sediment-laden flash floods. There's municipalities that can't dredge their rivers anymore, and 100-year rains come and inundate everything with mud-laden water. It's not all because of one cataclysmic mud flood. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled gravy. I'm gonna go off on a little bit of an aggravated tangent, but no, we'll stay professional. And again, it's said in humor and above board in jest. I'll bust balls with the best of them, but let it be known that I'm Berserker Bear for a reason. And please don't mistake my kindness for being a punk bitch. And I will lash out and throw some jabs when I feel it necessary. So maybe you should stop blocking my comments, Conspiracy RS, and we can meet somewhere in the middle. I digress. Look at this one, dude. Back to the I'm going a little bit off here, but what do you think about that banner? Check it out in the middle, dude. You got the all-seeing. You got the I'm not actually sure what this is. This is
interesting.
Right? So yeah, it says North Buffalo Lodge, number 517. You know what? I was gonna look this up.
I want to send that to Homeboy. I want to send that to my buddy Brandon and have him
your buddy
do a
good
symbolic breakdown. See if he'll do that for me. He might
That'd
even
be
be somewhere up in this or popped in. I sent him a link to it. But yeah, he was the one I was telling you about that I'll cite later when we jump on that fog. But very, very interesting. A lot going on there.
Yeah, this is really cool. I wonder what scene this depicted is. If anybody knows in the chat, let's hop back. How's audio going? I don't necessarily see any movement. Do we still have connection here? Is audio good? I'll start playing the tunes in a second. But if anybody can throw some feedback in, is that a scene that's depicted in the Bible? Wasn't sure. If anybody knows, they can chime in. Brian Evans says yeah, you're picking up what I'm putting down. I get it. Good on you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a really easygoing dude for the most part. But I have really quick trigger, and my name is pretty befitting. It's my bear name, my Unbearable's name. Officially verified. Actually, you know what? Let's just do it.
Please, can I be known as?
This will date the Unbearable's Berserker Bear right here. Here goes the legend. You familiar with that, dude? This is back in the day, bro. Ready?
Please, can I be known as Berserker Bear? Welcome, Berserker Bear. You know the story of the Berserkers?
Do
Those are
I?
actually the Bear Clan of the Vikings. They just set those dudes loose. These guys were maniacs. They did so much damage that we still use the word berserk. Going berserk.
Yeah, he's like, do you know what? Of course I knew what it means, bro. I wanted to be verified as it, so that's my official verification. Y'all seen it. And all right, back to the regularly scheduled gravy. And Brian Evans, I appreciate that. Oh, there's thank you, man. Where's the music at? Anyway, let's keep it going. So then we move it over to the Jvbilee Library, and that's it right there. The building that actually has the T end of the wooden pipes underneath in the basement. We're going to get onto that. This is starting to be a long episode, longer than I thought, because we still got to get into the. We got 15 minutes before 2 hours. We can get it done. Where are we? Okay. So now we're moving over to the Jvbilee Library, which is actually where the wooden pipes teed in. I keep on saying that, but cool building. And that, notice how there's a V for the U, old school lettering there. I always thought that's cool. And here's inside. Look, you got to come and help me go through these.
All right. So, John and I just entered into the library.
This is a long
checking stuff
video.
Around. And I could just notice this pillar.
There's the third pillar.
Just at face
Here you
value,
go.
I checked it out. And
They forgot it next door.
I probably would. I think it is wood. Or how do we check this? Corinthian pillar. And yep, it's wood. Mostly.
There you go. See? Oh,
Yeah. Thanks, John.
bear with me.
Always requires further research. And this is pretty cool. Did my brother say we can get upstairs? Like, you got a little hidden
Look at all
trapdoor type of deal.
Look at all those books, man.
Here's the books.
Yeah.
Oh boy, do I got some work to do to go through all this. Right out the jump. Wow, another synchronicity. You got to be kidding me.
I thought so.
So
it
with
wasn't.
the dust, right? My episode on dust. The book that stands out the most to me, oh my goodness, and the astronomer here, is Carpentry, Framing, and Finishing.
Dude, I thought that said farming and fishing.
fishing. Yeah, you're kidding me.
I thought it was carpentry, farming, and fishing, but I was wrong.
But yeah, here's the library, huh? I literally I thought that said Carpentry, Farming, and Fishing. So not necessarily a sink. But yeah, I'm gonna go through eventually all this stuff, and
There's so much stuff, dude. It's crazy.
kind of my endeavor.
I don't even know if I'm going to share
The
it.
fact that
This
my
whole 10
brother
minutes.
got this place as a library means that at least I believe, John, that I have to do this. So I'm gonna.
Good picture of Lucky Lee.
You familiar with Lucky Lee?
No.
Old school.
Whoever could be Lucky Lee.
Old school crooner. Look at this.
You're having a good time.
This is so cool. We're like kids in candy shop, huh? This gets the blood flowing though, John, doesn't it? You know.
Here's some more of his message.
Yeah, what's going on with the medicine chests? There were a ton of them in the Masonic Temple. I wonder I wonder if they're from the Psych Center. If they got some kind of, who knows?
Yeah, could be from, probably some.
You know, because as you can see, these places become like a catch-all over the years.
Very cool.
Wow. Old wooden pipes were to tee in, if you can see them.
Here we go. This is actually, I do go downstairs now. I thought, okay, perfect. Pay attention, y'all. We're going into the basement here.
There go the stairs. Running out of battery here a little bit, so.
Boom.
Downstairs.
Just happenstance. Kevin, my brother didn't show me where this was. Charlie, the owner, didn't show me where it was. And the guy who
basement of the library.
The maintenance guy didn't show me either.
I wonder.
Just walking down here.
Whoa.
It starts to be like an episode from The Proper People.
So if anything, I think this is where the street is that way. The Jvbilee Springs would be that way.
There we go.
This has got to be where. And it does. The gentleman who takes care of this place did say it looks like. Oh, here we go. More in the front. Did say it looks just like a regular basement because I was asking him where the old wooden pipes were to tee in, if you could see them.
Boom.
And it appears that, whoa, what's going on in here? To the other side, huh? There are a lot of nooks and crannies. So I would assume that this may be the place where the old pipes teed in. Requires further research, but maybe we'll do that in the overview. Because I'd assume that they were here somewhere. We got a sump pump.
Now notice how I don't.
Yeah, it looked like it went down.
Can't see it yet, but we're coming up onto it.
That's filled with dark water.
It looked black at first, like it went further down in.
So no traces at face value of where the old pipes would be, but maybe this is part of the old system. Maybe this is part of the old system that distributed it. I feel like a little bit of the proper people going on here. They appreciate this stuff. Shout out to the proper people, another YouTube channel that does urban exploration.
Really good channel. If you guys go check them out.
Let them know who sent you.
Yeah, let them know who sent you.
Maybe one day you'll have bushwhacking history with the proper people in Buffalo.
Boom. There you go.
So again, to wrap up, as I am losing battery, I'm in the guts right now of Jvbilee. No sign, again, at face value of the old wooden pipes, but we got some, as I can see here, there is some.
Boom. What do you think, Robbie? Look at this right here.
This right now.
The sinks hold the secret.
There is some stuff going on.
Aha, the water, bro. Look at that. It's intricate, man. I think that's it. Listen to what I say.
If anything,
it looks like we're on a tunnel.
Right?
Red brick on top. Concrete with some
fashion
blocks.
Fashion concrete, poured.
Maybe right here is where it's teed in. Because we have the pumping equipment. Pure speculation, pure hip fire, but that's what we do here. So I'm going to sign out so we can get some more pictures. We'll get the walkout. And I think we might have just found the place where, wow, that's what we were looking through.
Got a Candyman vibe.
A bunch of sinks up in this place.
There's
a
lot
movie?
of
Water sinks, not only
Right?
Yeah, creepy.
synchronistic sinks. Big, expansive. What's notable is the very high ceiling in this basement.
Crazy high ceiling, dude.
Wow. Don't get caught slipping.
Wow. More sinks.
So
right?
Cool.
So yeah, I go. I went back to it.
All right, so that was the basement. I think I found the spot where the wooden pipes teed into this place. And then
Add it to the list. Check mark it.
so cool. More columns. Looks like we're on a little bit of a shack built off the side. Another
It
catch-all.
was a boiler. I agree.
Amish Bear asks, was that a pump, boiler, or furnace? There goes John.
I think I found in the basement where they...
John's going to answer it.
Just a big old basement with a big... Where'd you come from? Another catch-all?
Storage. Look at all those pillars.
Where are all these pillars from?
Yeah.
Different series of the... And this is another...
They're like everywhere.
Oh, okay, here goes a bunch of doors. Wow, this is big.
Doors and pews.
Doors and pews. Some banisters and balusters and...
Big cross right
Well, you
there.
know what? The Sphinx out front is definitely from the Pan Am, what Marty said. So,
Yeah.
okay, so there we are for orientation. I get it. Sometimes you get lost. All right, that's pretty much, we did the 360 in, out, up, down in this place, huh, John?
You go down in the downstairs stairs?
Yep.
There
Just
you
a
go.
big basement, high ceilings, and there is an old pump actually that looks like it might have been the old pump where they took the water in. So I actually think that I found the spot. Want to go check it out?
Yeah.
Let me stop this right now and bushwhacking history in Buffalo, field work.
Field
We'll
work.
report back.
So I'm going to start using field work instead of boots on the ground too. Field work. All right, so here's in between the buildings right here. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. This is a little bit long-winded. I'm sorry. My presentations are a little bit more long-formed. So, and thanks, you too, Robbie.
Of course, brother.
All right, in between these buildings here, boom.
And to kind of hit on Amish Bear's point, yeah, to me that's the HVAC system for the building. Looked like an old oil furnace to me.
Okay,
Probably a boiler,
that's exactly.
probably oil fired.
That's what John deduced as well, bro. So here goes some pictures now. So what this is, where we are right now, is in the basement of this building right here, the Jvbilee Library. All right. Sorry if you can't see. I should get a bigger cursor. And we're underneath, like right about here. Okay, right where we believe those wooden pipes teed in. And yeah, it's a little bit lackluster. Like you think that it was going to be a lot more. That you're going to see something crazy. But it's just a wall that I looked over initially. Upon further inspection, though, check it out.
Interesting.
Like you said, dude, it does look like a subset for like a tunnel. It does go in.
Yeah.
What were you gonna?
Interesting to note on that PVC right there. It looks like it's like 3 or 4 inch PVC that's coming across the ceiling and then down right by where the tunnel could have been. If we go down a little bit, actually, that might be old cast iron pipe, not even PVC. But that one previous photo right there, there's a shutoff valve of some sort right there in it, that old turn valve. I wonder what that's going to. And there's a spigot right on the right side. See that?
Whoa, good catch, bro. I didn't even notice that at all when I was there. So what are you deducing from that? What do you think that might be? The inlet from somewhere.
I wonder if that's the spring. I wonder if it's been kind of routed to just like a pipe, and that could be the meter that you saw on the southeast corner of the building there.
Yep.
That could have pumped it up. They could have eventually taken it like maybe out of the basement or something and just put it up and outside on the exterior wall where people could have came. Maybe they put a penny in there or something, and it might have dispensed X amount of gallons per what what you fed
Wow, like an old vending machine for
for water.
Jvbilee water. Oh my gosh, that's amazing insight right there. And I can't believe that you pointed that out, dude. With the spigot too, yo.
Yeah.
Nice, Robbie.
And you gotta
Eagle
shut off
eye
right
over
below
here.
it.
Yep, see that too.
Yeah, because like to note in my place where I'm at out in the country here in Orleans County, I still don't have public water on my road. So like everyone who doesn't have a well or a well, you can go to the local like town highway building here, and same thing. There's a high flow. There's like a normal spigot that you can fill up with clean water, or there's like a high that you pay like 20 cents and it gives you like 1,000 gallons.
That's amazing. What unbelievable insight.
John and I are surmising possibly because there's this formation. And John just said that this is for the heating and the cooling for the actual building, right? But this is going somewhere, and it's in the general location of where we're facing effectively Forest Lawn Cemetery. So, and there is formation here. Sorry, when I say formation, I mean purposely built in formed concrete in concave fashion in the door type deal with blocks. Like it's subset in like it was actually a tunnel or something. I you know what? I'm gonna go on a limb here and say I think that's probably the tunnel.
I think it is.
Actually, John.
And in that kind of corbelling where it steps out into the brick too.
Yes.
That kind of grayish piece that runs across between what looks like it was filled in and the red brick above, I believe is a lentil, which would have held the weight of above it at one point before it was filled.
I believe you're exactly right, and thank you for pointing that out.
Maybe.
Thank you for pointing that out because I forgot about it, and it is a lentil. We're going to look at a picture of it, which goes above an opening. This has got to be the spot, man. I mean, it's a little bit lackluster, like there's not really a crescendo, as it were.
Right.
But personally, it is for me, you know. And great point right here. What Robbie just pointed out is that this is one solid piece here. And what we know of lentils, they are the top lintel. Door frame lintel. The door lintel is a horizontal beam fitted across the top of a door opening to support the brick. Why would there be a door opening right there facing like what would be the outside foundational wall of the building? We found that that's definitely where they were. Over the years, lintels have been made from numerous materials, but today they are typically made from steel or pre-stressed concrete. Great. Another great point. You pointed that out when we were just going through this a couple of days ago too, Robbie. So that would lead you to believe that was formerly an opening and probably right where the tunnels came in. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'd almost say
just the intricate nature of it too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. You know, and it looks like you can see a lot of like moisture issues. It looks like that hole that you're kind of zoomed in on right there. It looks like water was just seeping out of it. But that 2x4 that you can see on the left side of your screen there, that's still kind of pinned to the wall, might even be the remnants of some like form work that they did when they sealed it up that didn't get pulled.
Look at the intricate nature of it too, on the angles that it's on. It's not any kind of bullshit job here. They knew what they were doing. They added a lentil in there. And we found the spot, man. Great insight there, Robbie. That was it. Now we're coming up out of it. Another quick video showing. Okay, this is what the work that you got to help me out with, bro. I know that it's
you got a good angle. Oh, and I just hit my head. This is old, yeah. Drop ceiling. Bro. Oh wow!
First, I put a stethoscope. Good idea.
This goes. Oh, look at this angle. This is pretty cool.
This type of stuff I love.
Marty, how long you been at this place?
So Marty is the he didn't like being on camera, but gentleman and a good help worker here for the past 25 years or longer than that.
97. There
you go.
Wow.
20 years, yeah, almost.
You ain't kidding. This is very historic. And I can't believe that I'm up here. This is so cool. Oh my word, look at all these books.
Look at that. We got to go through all that.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just blessed and grateful that I have the opportunity to do it.
Are you kidding me?
You can tell a kid in the candy shop, right?
Just
More pillars, dude. The pillars there.
Man, why there's so many? Well, the Pan Am, maybe a lot of them were from that, possibly.
They're setting up a lot of trestle boards. You know, they gotta have one for each initiate.
So this is just more of an open, empty room. But yeah, those are all the books that we're going to be going through, man. You got the rising sun, the sun through the window. All you, well, I mean, I'm not going to joke about that. Okay, here we go.
okay, so we're topside right now. What were you just saying about where you think that was on the wall?
So
right
that
about
would
right
probably
here.
be the Jvbilee drain out there. And the wall is just about centered. It's off center on the stairway out here
Okay.
to my right.
So that's we pretty much located, yeah, where it would have been tubed into, and then we'll figure it out from the Google Earth exactly.
Yeah, and
The
they
line.
got the city water, when they put that in, they put between it. It's right out there.
And go figure, we got the Jvbilee plaque right in view. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
bushwhacking history. John, thanks again for stopping by.
Hey, I love this.
Awesome. You got a lot more work to do.
Very cool. A lot more work to do. That was awesome. And then just a couple little intricate little knickknacks, excuse me. For example, all the books that they have, when we were leaving, I seen this and I'm like, my goodness, we got a whole bunch of work to do. We're just going to flip through this right
All
quick.
right, it just so has it, a couple syncs today, synchronicities as we're leaving. All the architecture. I would just want to
Yo,
stay
Bonanza
in
Bear,
here
what's
for
up?
hours on end.
What's up, Brandon Bonanza? Shout out, brother. Thank you.
Oh, goodness.
Careful driving.
Probably come back and make an offer on this book, huh?
Yeah, man. Safe travels.
Oh, yeah, that
Very
book was
cool.
just laying around.
So that's it. That's another episode.
Bang, bang. Hope you liked it, guys. And now, who said was it an Amish bear earlier that said something about the pineal?
Yes. Yep, that was. I think.
Check it.
There it is.
Right. Is that the pineal or is it Fibonacci broccoli? You got some Fibonacci broccoli or is that prosciutto bear?
Probably. I don't know.
I think he was having it. Maybe one of you guys was telling me about it. There you go, Gothic City. That was a dime tour, y'all. That's it. So, boy, we went like 2 hours and we didn't even get into the fog.
I know. I was gonna say you want to shelve fog. For now?
Yeah, we'll probably just do another episode if you. We could do it. I mean, it's fog. There was a really interesting fog here, and I have it in my book. Actually, I do have it defined. I did the whole chapter where the actual fog itself was defined, but I think we should do it again because I want to get a little bit more feedback again. Also, Moon Jazz Bear. Maybe I'll get Moon Jazz Bear in, and we could do it like a thrice type of thing because I call him Moon Jazz Bear, but he's like Mr. Wizard / MacGyver because his depth of insight on this stuff is way more than mine on the alchemical way. But yeah, he brought this insight because there was something going on with the fog across the. Check out my Instagram page, guys, and scroll down a little bit. You'll see the back and forth between Robbie and I about the synchronicity, about how weird the fog was. I posted it and I got a lot of feedback. So we're gonna have to do this another time, man.
Yeah, and I'm 100% in line with what Moon Jazz is saying right there about increasing the connectivity with increased moisture in the atmosphere and stuff. Just
I agree.
So much greater. And if
more ability for. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I'll bring up that point because it kind of correlates to the fog aspect and just water in general, and then it also kind of pertains to the Jvbilee and Forest Lawn real quick before we wrap it up, and maybe that'll even kind of prelude into a precursor thing for fog.
Were you gonna say that water is the true Trinity?
Well, that's why I was saying when you mentioned about bringing Moon Jazz in, it's like maybe we have to keep that Trinity element rolling,
for water. Yeah, good point, man. The fog thing, we'll do that. So if you're listening, Moon Jazz Bear, hopefully we'll set that up. Also, I got more work to do on, like I was saying earlier, with the International Railway Bridge. Toronto Jvbilee is helping me out with that tremendously, because he sent a professional email soliciting information regarding how they sank these caissons in the middle of this very, very fast-moving water in 1873. And actually, we did get a response back from the Fort Erie Museum. That's going to be for another episode. All I'm going to say is they got a lot more stuff to produce if they're really going to think that I'm buying this. I hear what you're saying, Robbie. Don't sleep on the ingenuity of the cats 100 years ago. You're damn right there, for sure, especially comparing what's going on now. People don't even want to work. I know that they had some stick-to-itiveness. They had ambition, and they were workers. But some things, and this is infrastructure. We're going to have to do more work on it. And again, thanks, Toronto Jvbilee, for sending that professional email. I am going to follow up and solicit the same information from the Army Corps of Engineers, who are right next to the actual and who maintain the bridge. I believe they're right here. They used to have a tank in this parking lot that I climbed on back in the day when I was rollerblading. Climbed on it with my rollerblades. Do you hear that, Bowler Bear? But I'm going to solicit the information just as Toronto Jvbilee did from Fort Erie Museum from the Army Corps of Engineers. She's doing my proper due diligence to get all the information that's out there accessible for the construction of this behemoth bridge. Some of it's at the Army Corps of Engineers. Fort Erie Museum didn't really pan out. Maybe the Army Corps will. But if I don't see like video footage or legitimate pictures of them actually in the river doing what they say they do in the detail description of it in the schematics, we have a major problem. And I might be making a claim with this one. So get your popcorn, guys. And again, I appreciate you guys sticking with me for 2 hours. And Robbie, I always have a good time, either when you're with me on a show or episode or we're out doing field work, dude. And we literally have so much more to do. So either I'll come out to you next time and we'll do some more work or field work on the Erie Canal, or you want to stop in here and we'll take a look at the Gothic City.
Yeah.
Choose your
either way.
Or dude. Or obviously we got Niagara Falls work to do on Lake Tonawanda. Vikings being through here in the Viking Age. Where I'm going with that. I think that they were taking fur pelts out of here with established trade routes in the Viking Age. Anytime Robbie and I are doing work on Erie Canal and stuff like that, that's kind of like the underlying tone. We're Vikings here in Viking Age. There's a lot more just going on than I'm being humorous, being a little bit tongue-in-cheek here, but we're not just trying to debunk Tartaria or the mud flood. There's a lot more professional research going on that we're all doing. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate being able to do this with y'all. So please like, share, and subscribe. And you just watched another episode of Bushwhacking History in Buffalo with Berserker Bear and special guest, good friend Robbie Rad Bear. So without any further ado, that's going to be an episode. Robbie?
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to do the fog breakdown.
Sorry we couldn't get to it this time, guys, but I'll change the thumbnail.
Yeah, I think it's a good topic to hit, and I think there's a lot there, so it might even be better on its own thing.
Thanks for saying it like that. That's a perfect way to wrap it up. So, with that, God bless. Keep it sleuthing. Robbie and I will report back, and that's an episode for you. Take care and God bless y'all. I'll catch you on the next one.